And thank you, folks, for joining us. And as Bernard mentioned, my name is Jonathan Jones. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be your host and moderator for this afternoon. Um, our theme, our subject matter, take control of your health. Take control of your health. That's really the centerpiece of this discussion, is empowering you. That's really what our goal is. I know that in my conversation with Dr. Prasad, he wants to see humanity in a better place. He wants to see mankind being in a position to do something, to take an action step for themselves. But if you look anything like me and probably billions of other people, you just go on the internet, you're trying to find out what do you do? Where do I start? Well, we can tell you this, as you can see on the screen, you're better off to choose something that's been scientifically proven. And if you can find something that's been supported by patents, that points you in the right direction. That gives you a chance. That gives you an opportunity to really do something and to be in charge. Now, I thought I would just share with you something real quick before we get into the meat of our discussion. And this is really just motivation for you to take charge of your own health. Because I've been in and out of the hospital now for the past 2 weeks, looking after one friend or another. And almost every single one of them has had either a heart problem or something very serious in that vein. In fact, one friend, literally, her heart stopped. Heart stopped. Paramedics were called. They were able to resuscitate her. It had stopped again when she got to the emergency room. Another one, chronic condition. Kidneys are just declining all the way down to 15%. But I'll tell Dr. Prasad about this in a minute. But after just taking a few capsules of Micro Daily consistently, kidney function has jumped up to 25% in just a very short period of time. So it's really nice to see that happen. So what I've been telling folks is, listen, if you don't take charge of your health, if you don't take control of your health, someone else will. And look at what's happening in the medical system. Now, I just did a quick search to see what was going on, just to see, because I've been hearing about doctors supposedly leaving the medical profession in droves. You can search it yourself. And my little quick search, it came back with 371,000 results. And here's one of the articles from a website, dnyuz.com. And it had these articles. Doctors aren't burned out from overwork. It said, and this was apparently written by a doctor, we're demoralized by our health system. That's what the doctor said. And I think it was Dr. Rachel Bedard is the one who made this system. And I just thought it would be worthy of hearing a couple of comments by this doctor. And interesting, she says the doctors have long diagnosed many of our sickest patients with demoralization syndrome, a condition commonly associated with terminal illness that's characterized by a sense of helplessness and loss of purpose. I've seen that. I've seen that. When a person gives up, there's not much that you can do to help them. But interesting that she goes on to say, American physicians are now increasingly suffering from a similar condition, except our demoralization is not a reaction to a medical condition, but rather the disease systems for which we work. Now, those are her comments, of course. That's not my expression, but those are the doctor's comments. She goes on to say the United States is the only large high-income nation that doesn't provide universal health care to its citizens. Instead, it maintains a lucrative system of for-profit medicine. For decades, tens of thousands of preventable deaths have occurred each year. Now, if you go to the CDC's website, the CDC has the top leading causes of death. Number one is still heart disease. Number two is cancer. And after that, number three is accidental death. Now, it used to be called iatrogenics, which is medical mistakes, but they've changed it. They changed the official designation to accidental deaths. I think they kind of figured out that people could look up the word iatrogenics and realize that meant death by medical system. So they changed that to accidental death. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll find out that they actually define it. They say death by accidental death caused by the medical system. So, and I saw one article, they called it death by doctor. So that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad when you think that that could be the case. Now, again, I'm not trying to say that doctors are horrible, because I mean, I love doctors. The doctors that have been taking care of my friends over Broward Health Medical System have just been stellar. I've had conversations with them, and they really love people. Some of the nurses in intensive care, one gentleman, he said, I think I have a calling. That's why I do this. Because I couldn't understand what would make someone go in there and be in a situation where they're going to see people in such serious conditions and most of them would die. He said, I think I have a calling. His wife and his son, we had got into a nice long conversation, but he cares about people. So I'm not trying to tell you that there are not good people in the system. I believe that they are, but you can decide for yourself. And that's the reason for this entire presentation is, who do you want to have in charge of your health? Who do you want to be in control? Do you want to wait until you're in a situation where you hope that you get a good-hearted doctor, a good-hearted intensive care nurse to take care of you? Or would you rather be in charge yourself? And now's the time. Now's the time for you to make that decision and to take the action right now. Don't wait until you're on a gurney in a hospital and try to say, you know what, I think I'll take some of that micro daily now. In fact, one of my friends, that's what she woke up and she said, where's my micro daily? She couldn't even remember from one day to the next that I was there, but she asked her husband for micro daily.
Yeah.
Halfway in a coma, medically induced coma, intubated. The first time they took that tube out of her mouth, she asked for micro daily. So we'll get to that some other day. But before we get started with our discussion with Dr. Prasad, please know that the FDA has not evaluated these statements. And just to make clear, so that YouTube doesn't strike down this video, the comments that were just made from the article, the website article, dnyuz.com, express their views. I'm sharing it with this audience because I thought you might find it informative. Okay, so the FDA has not evaluated these statements. Testimonials are anecdotal. Results are atypical, because you're going to hear some testimonials. In fact, I got one I want to share with you almost. No, we'll hear from Dr. Prasad first, because he's got some comments about your health. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So when you do hear testimonials, just know that. So the Healthcare Support Association of America, Engage Global, Dr. Prasad, Jonathan Jones, and none of our co-hosts or hosts or authorized representatives are making any claims that supplements that are going to be discussed or recommended will treat or cure any disease state. This presentation is for information and educational purposes only. It's not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your doctor. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. So, who is the mastermind that Bernard alluded to at the beginning of our discussion? It's Dr. Prasad, Dr. Kedar Prasad. And you can just see, and this really is just a snippet of this gentleman's credentials. I happen to get a copy of his, what do they call it? For most of us, it's called a resume, but for professionals like Dr. Prasad, it's more like a book. It's like his biography. And I think it was about 15 pages is all the things that this gentleman has accomplished. But just to highlight a couple of them, Dr. Prasad's products have been awarded some 10 U.S. patents in micronutrients. Dr. Prasad is the gentleman who has discovered things that other brilliant scientists had not discovered yet, such as you can see on the list of accolades, he's the one that figured out that vitamin E succinate is an anti-cancer agent. He also was the one who discovered that butyric acid is an anti-cancer agent. He was the professor at the University of Colorado School of Medicine for some 30 years. So this gentleman has forgotten more than most of us know. He's already been published more than 250 times in peer-reviewed publication and has authored 33 books as of the time of this slide being created, but I'm pretty sure that it's up to 34 or 35 even as we speak. So Dr. Prasad is brilliant, and we are very fortunate to have this gentleman join us in our discussion today. And so, Dr. Prasad, we cannot express thanks enough for your being willing to come and join us and have a discussion on an afternoon like this. We very much appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Jonathan. I always enjoy being with you and our engaged family. And whatever I can answer questions or contribute it, this would be my privilege.
Well, thank you very much, and we do appreciate that. We mentioned something at the outset there, Dr. Prasad, that your formulas are scientifically proven and patent supported.
Mhm.
Um, can you tell us a little bit about the basis for your formulations and the benefits that they have to the human body, especially for someone who wants to take control of their health?
Yeah, I mean, I just finished, uh, almost finished really, aging book on aging, and the
Okay.
title is The Aging Causes and Remedies. And in that book, I have tried to say that, for example, recent discovery of new drugs, surgical intervention, and all these things that we have developed new technology, the time of your life extension has increased. In other words, how many years you are going to live have
Mm-hmm.
extended, almost doubled. Now at this time, we live about average of 85 years of age. And but the quality of life during aging process extremely poor. And as I said, 70% of the people have at least one disease, 80% have two diseases. So even though you have extended your length of the lifespan, but quality of the life remain very poor. So in this book, what I have tried to do, first you have to identify what are the factors, external, outside factor, internal, that happens to your own body, contribute to the development or progression of aging and age-related diseases. First, you have to identify that. Once you identify that, then how you can address them.
Mm-hmm.
You see each of them, because sometimes people have addressed. I will tell you the internal and external. Probably most of you know that external stressor, for example, which impacts your quality of life and the risk of developing chronic diseases like Alzheimer, Parkinson's disease, type 2 diabetes. These three
Right.
examples I've given in my book.
So external stressors, you're meaning things that a person does not have control over, things that is affecting them from the outside.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the thing is that all these external stressors, which is mainly what it is, a poor diet, poor quality of life,
Right.
excessive exposure to environment, but all these external stressors will induce what we call internal stressor.
Mm.
And in one of the earliest internal stressor is increased oxidative stress due to production of very high amount of free radicals.
Mm-hmm.
Once that happens, then oxidative stress induces chronic inflammation. Oxidative stress induces impaired immune function. Oxidative stress induces, for example, the autophagy, the system that you remove all the dead debris of the cell from your cell so the cell can function better. It impairs their function. And in addition to that, oxidative stress will induce production of beta amyloid that causes Parkinsonism. Oxidative stress will induce the increased production of an aggregation of alpha-synuclein, which causes a Parkinson disease. Oxidative stress will oxidative stress will damage the insulin receptor. That leads to accumulation of glucose in your blood, and that leads to type 2 diabetes. So you can see there are internal stressors.
Right.
Multiple. And if you try to just do oxidation, and then another one internal stressor is dysbiosis, intestinal dysbiosis, increased number of toxic bacteria. These are all internal stressor and participate in contributing the quality of life or poor or good quality of life, depending upon how your stomach is. And the intestinal dysbiosis, also loss of collagen is extremely important from the quality of life point of view. Loss of omega-3 function, which is absolutely essential. So these are the cellular internal stressor. And you have to address, in order to improve the quality of life, in order to improve the improve the chances of not getting any age-related chronic diseases that I mentioned, you have to address all these things at the same time. Now, we can address diet modifications and the environmental and the lifestyle. We have suggested many times for decades, but has no impact on quality of life right now, people during aging, or reduce the incidence of any of the disease that we know, chronic diseases. As a matter of fact, they're increasing. So obviously, nobody follow the recommendation of lifestyle changes and diet and environmental is good one, but nobody follows it. And the environment, we don't have a control. And for example, now we have a new kid in the block is a EMF radiation from your Wi-Fi, cell phone, computer. We can't avoid it. So these are the external stressors. Many of them we try to do as much as we can, but has no significant impact on your quality of life during aging, and as well as reducing the risk of developing age-related chronic diseases. So now it comes to internal stressor. I listed there are many internal stressors. And if you address only one of them, it will do some good. Obviously, suppose if you have just decreased oxidative stress and inflammation, it will have some value, but not the optimal value. For optimal value, you also have to reduce not the oxidative related damage that I mentioned, but also intestinal dysbiosis. You have to reverse it. You have to supplement with omega-3, collagen peptides, because collagen peptide, the collagen, loss of collagen is extremely effective in reducing the size of your organ as well as their function. And so you have to restore them. So if you just do collagen peptide, yeah, you will have some benefit, but not the optimal benefit. People have done intestinal dysbiosis, they have some good effect, but not the optimal effect.
Right.
For optimal effect, to improve the quality of life, you have to have all these at the same time. And we have a suggestion. For example, if you take micro daily EMF, for example, alone, they will reduce the effectiveness of all oxidative stress-related damage. But reduce it, but not the optimal way. We will have probably 75, 80%. But then we also have how to reverse intestinal dysbiosis in favor of beneficial bacteria. So we use probiotics with prebiotics that will reverse intestinal dysbiosis, therefore further improve your quality of life and reduce the risk of developing any diseases, chronic diseases. Then we have collagen peptides. We have collagen peptides that will improve the structure of by restoring collagen will improve the structure of your all organs and their function. Then we have omega-3, because omega-3 in high oxidative environment, they get oxidized. And once they get oxidized by free radicals, they are no more functional. So you have to replace them. And as you know, the omega-3 is very important for heart function, for brain function, and overall for your health. It is essential fatty acid. And so here is a core 4 that it will be so effective in a prevention aspect as well. And as well as if you combine with whatever medication you are taking it will further improve their effectiveness. Because those medications are treating just the symptoms of the disease, not the causes of the disease. And what we are proposing is we are also affecting the causes of the disease. And so then it combination of two might be very useful in terms of you're improving the quality of life and you can live longer. It may not extend your life from 85 or 90 or 95. It might, but at least during whatever time you are on this planet, I'm 89 plus, very close to 90, and so see, it is. But my quality of life is very good, except for my back pain. But very, very, that is a result of a fanatic or extensive playing tennis and volleyball and so on. So
Yeah, I can relate to that, Dr. Prasad. I got up
I
this.
don't regret it, but I'm saying, but otherwise I'm okay. I'm just, writing and everything. And
That's
so
right.
I'm having a good quality life because I take all these steps. And if you are older person and you have a digestive issue, then you take our digestive enzyme boost. And older people, I take it, but many older people have. If you don't have it, then don't take it. But if you have it, because as you grow older, naturally, your capacity to produce digestive enzyme decreases. This is well-known fact. So how you supplement it? This is the way you supplement it. And then sometimes people, for some reasons, have anxiety, depression, young people, old people, everybody has anxiety, depression, especially if you have a disease and you feel unhappy or something, relationship, then we have a CBD for that.
Right.
But it has to be combination with core 4. Core 4 is the central one. And then you replace it as you need it. Eye, boost, we have it. If you have eye problem, if you don't have eye problem, you don't have to take it. But prevention point of view, it is very important to take eye boost. But core 4 is a must. And richer one is like having a tie. You look good. Very important too.
Extremely important. So thank you, Dr. Prasad, for sharing that. And I think that what you're saying is it's critically important because, like I said, I just spent the past few weeks running back and forth to the hospital. In fact, I can't even believe how many times, I've gone back and forth to the hospital, and I'm hearing every single day now someone else right in my immediate circle that is dealing with serious health problems. So if a person wants to reduce their chances, nothing
Yeah.
is going to, eliminate disease because we're not talking
No,
about products doing that. But
no,
you
no.
said something very significant, Dr. Prasad,
Yeah.
and I hope everybody understands this. You use the term external stressors.
Yes.
And so everyone needs to understand that what Dr. Prasad is saying is that when we're eating food, when we're drinking water, when we're breathing air, when we're living life, it puts a level of stress on our body. Just like a submarine going down in the ocean, bottom of the ocean, the deeper it goes, the more stress the water puts on the hull, of that submarine.
Yeah.
Well, our lives is putting pressure on us from the outside. That's an external stressor.
Yeah.
The result of that is internal stress,
Yes.
but it manifests itself based on what you just said, Dr. Prasad. It
Yes.
manifests itself because of free radicals, oxidative stress.
Right. That's the first thing.
So that oxidative stress then leads to disease.
Yes. Various things that I mentioned, various type of abnormality in the cell happens. And if you block those oxidative stress, and inflammation is very closely linked. So if you remove you will reduce all subsequent cellular defects that oxidative stress is causing. And micro daily EMF is the best one to do that.
That's powerful, and I hope and I know everyone is understanding it, everyone is getting it. We have one testimonial that we want to share that I think well illustrates this, and maybe for the sake of letting folks know what it is that you were talking about, Dr. Prasad.
Sure.
This is the microdaily EMF that Dr. Prasad
Yeah.
made reference
By the
to.
way, this is also almost there to get the patent on micro daily EMF.
That's what I'm talking about. See? So now the original formula has like 8 patents. So the EMF is already been applied for a patent. So it's a very unique formula. But just take a look at it, folks. You're going to look at this and you're going to say, well, there's nothing real special about it. And that would be true, except that you have to add Dr. Prasad's face to the formula. That's a whole different story now. This is not just stuff you can go buy over the counter at the drugstore. But if you did, you could end up paying quite a significant amount of money for each of those ingredients. And then you've got to figure out how much of each one you need to take and when. But Dr. Prasad put a couple of additional components in here that I absolutely love, just because it's just my thing. Down in the bottom, you see where it says proprietary blend?
Yes.
This stuff down here, folks, let me tell you something. This is no joke. N-acetylcysteine, that causes your body to manufacture glutathione like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And glutathione, is that right, Dr. Prasad? Is the body's
Yes.
antioxidant?
Yeah. And see, another function of N-acetylcysteine is also that it chelates any heavy particles as well.
So you're talking about metals
Heavy
like
metals.
mercury, cadmium, and lead all being chelated out of the body.
Mhm.
So the effect of this cannot be overstated. Alpha lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10, beta carotene. Dr. Prasad added that to this formula to make it even better. It was great as it was,
Exactly.
but this is
Exactly.
even better.
Yeah. And
So
those things are generally missing in commercial product.
yeah, see, and that's exactly the point. You have to buy those separately. You'd have to buy that separately, and you'd have to know the exact amount to
Yeah.
use.
That's very important.
So, and then Dr. Prasad put together this probiotic with prebiotic, again,
Mhm.
the exact combination that's necessary. And one point, Dr. Prasad always so modestly doesn't bring out all the things because, you know, he could give us this stuff in detail and it would go forever. But this lactobacillus business,
Mhm.
lactobacillus. That binds to that's what produces the butyric acid, Dr. Prasad?
Yes. Yeah. With fermentation of the prebiotics, they produce butyric acid during fermentation process, and also other acetic acid, which is very important for your health, general health, but butyric acid is specifically important to prevent cancer.
That's a big deal, folks. You're talking about a cancer fighter as well. Each one of the strains that Dr. Prasad used are heat resistant and acid resistant. So it survives digestion and makes itself into the gut and does what it's supposed to do. I was always taught that you have to have 50 billion international units every single day. Well, you do if they're going to be destroyed in the gut, in the acidic environment of the gut.
Yeah.
And because of heat, you need 50 billion international units. But Dr. Prasad put the best of the best, the creme de la crème. Is that how you say it? Anyway, I don't speak French. He put the best of the best in his formula, so you don't need to have massive amounts of it going into your gut. Just take one of
Exactly.
these. One a day, Dr. Prasad, is that the general
Yeah.
idea, right? One twice a day, one a day is all you need.
Yeah. One a day, one in the night and evening before going to bed.
Can't beat that, folks.
Bacillus coagulant and Saccharomyces boulardii, these two are the very acid resistance.
Those are the acid resistant ones.
And they have been used in clinical study, and it is safe and effective.
And we're talking about
Individually, some, but
perfect.
not as good as we have.
Right. So
And
folks, you understand it. This is what Dr. Prasad was talking about as far as balancing out intestinal dysbiosis.
Yes.
So bringing your gut biome into the right form, because everybody's having gut problems these days.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the rest of those items here in just a minute, but maybe let's do this, Dr. Prasad. We're going to share this one testimonial.
Sure.
Because our audience, crème de la crème. Okay, good. Thank you. Sherry, crème de la crème. Okay, cream of the crème. Cream of the. What does that literally mean? Sherry, put that in there also. Okay, so here's the story that we want to share with you real quick. Let me just see if I can get this to queue up properly. This gentleman's name is Dennis, and Dennis was he and his daughter both had serious health problems, Dr. Prasad, and they were introduced to your formula. I'm not sure that they got the entire core 4, and I'm pretty sure that they didn't because cancer was involved. So we always would recommend them not to do as you have suggested, not to do the collagen if they're dealing with cancer. So, but the majority of your formulas, I believe, if I remember correctly, they were on them. So we want to just let folks hear Dennis tell his story. And after, David is his name, David Bonus. After he tells his story, he's going to mention a couple things about his daughter as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. Let's get some sound so you can actually hear it.
A very aggressive skin cancer known as squamous temple. I told her about these. I had an operation here on the side of my temple where they had to remove very aggressive skin cancer known as squamous cell carcinoma. And I noticed I had 3 more moles coming up like a feeder that maybe they had missed.
Mm.
And so, being the good person that Alfreda is, she didn't tell me about it. She came to my home and started telling me all about this microdaily. And I did what she said. Started taking triple doses of the. Matter of fact, I just made me one. Very simple to use. It's like Crystal Light. And I was drinking 3 of those a day and doubling up on the micro daily hydro. And I did that for a little over a month. I had high blood pressure problems. I was able to reconnect with my original doctor. He had all my previous testing and pallets from all the different blood tests, etc. Well, the high blood pressure had already damaged my kidneys. And I went to a different doctor, and she wanted me to do, because of my age, she wanted me to do everything from a colonoscopy to you name it. I said, I'm not doing that. So he said, no, I understand where you're coming from. Let's just start with the blood test and we'll go from there. Your blood pressure medicine's not working. You're 200 over 140. And close to having a stroke, I assume. That's what I've been told. And so he increased the amount of losartan that he was giving me. He said, I want to see you in about a month. And so in that month, I'd been taking micro daily, the regimen that I described. And I had to go to a lab where they took the blood tests, and they did from A to Z all the different things between diabetes and my kidneys and the high blood pressure and yada, yada, yada. Prostate. When I came back to see him, he says, David, I don't know what you're doing, but your prostate, you're in the 1% or less that'll never get prostate cancer. Because I can't detect any more damage on your kidneys. Your high blood pressure is at 130 over 80. Diabetes, you're never going to have it. Your whatever they measure,
A1C.
A1C, it's off the chart good. It's 5.3.
Wow.
Yes, it was close to maybe a 10.
Yeah.
And in 5 days.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You called me.
The 3 lesions from the cancer that had come back had fallen off.
Wow.
Right.
He says, I don't know what you're doing, but keep on doing it.
Wow. That's
Now, I'll tell you another story. Same identical
Remarkable.
thing. My daughter, stage 3 cancer. She has a lymphoma in her stomach.
wow.
She's on chemo. We're giving her a thing called Enhertu. And I suggested that she start micro daily, et cetera, triple doses. And this past week, she got a phone call. She's been going through this for about 2.5 months. She's on the micro daily for a month. And her doctor told her the exact same thing that I heard from my doctor. I don't know what you're doing, but keep on doing it. There's no trace of cancer.
Wow.
Don't stop doing it. She still has an appointment in Tennessee to see her oncologist because this returned. She had the cancer 4 years ago. And when a person of her age, young, has a reoccurrence, it's a 84% mortality rate.
Yeah.
It's very high. It comes back, and it comes back stronger than ever. And there's not she's got 4 kids. So we only wanted to supplement what they were doing with the doctor. It
Yeah,
wasn't that this was
exactly.
all,
Yeah,
and it damn sure helped.
that's
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
that's why we always suggest that whatever you are taking, doctor says you continue to take it, but take this one additional one to help you.
Dr. Prasad, I mean, listen to what this guy just went through. I
It's
mean,
amazing.
blood pressure issues, diabetes issues, kidney
Yeah.
issue. I mean, is this pretty much describing what you're talking about as far as
Yes.
pressures manifesting in
Yeah,
the
yeah. The same for that prevention, if you combine the same thing in combination with a standard therapy, it will improve it further, reduce the toxicity, and you will be happy with the results.
My goodness. Well, I think that everyone needs to really just try to soak this in and recognize. Again, we gave the disclaimer at the very beginning that testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you, but this is the core four that Dr. Prasad is recommending, that I'm recommending. I highly, believe it. There's not one day goes by that I don't take Dr. Prasad's formulas. I'm noticing the difference myself. For a while there, for some crazy reason, I wasn't taking the omega-3 every day, but I've made that adjustment, and I'm noticing the overall improvement. I'm more convinced that that's good for my internal organs. I'm focusing on the brain there and the heart, Dr. Prasad. I don't like those start going away in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I love the collagen, love the probiotic, and love Microdaily. What you have done is, I think, going to change everybody's life. But listen, folks, take control. You take charge. If you don't take charge of your health, someone else will. It's going to be in somebody's hands. You can be the decider now. The last friend that I just visited today in the hospital, she's in her 70s, and she's considerably overweight, but her kidney function had gone down to 15. So we had to convince her a few days ago to let them put a temporary port in to allow them to begin the dialysis process. Her left leg doesn't work very well. She needs knee replacement surgery, but for some reason she doesn't want to do it, and she hasn't been really cooperative. But she finally allowed them to put the port in, and they did dialysis for a couple of days. But it's affected her taste buds. So now, instead of the toxins being in her body, her taste is better. So she's now swallowing better, which means she can consume Microdaily better. And today she said, please give me 3 of those capsules. I mean, and this is the one time that I didn't have them in my pocket. You guys know when I go to the hospital, I'm packing my pockets full of but today was the one day I didn't have a couple of bottles on me to make sure she got plenty of it, but she's asking for it. And so she believes that there's a chance that, just like with David, that maybe her body will improve. But again, Dr. Prasad, she went from a EGRF number of 15 to today. The nurse looked it up on the screen. She was at 25, and she had only got a small amount of Microdaily in her body over the past few days. So that's the ticket right there, folks. And just to repeat our disclaimer there, we're not talking about treatment or cure for disease, but David Bonus said there that it helped. He was just trying to supplement what the doctors were doing, but it sure helped him. He's convinced of that. But Engage Global has an added bonus this month that if you give the company a call and you go on subscription for the Core 4, they're going to throw in the Digestive Boost on top of the whole order. So you're getting that as a bonus. We'll talk about that in just a second. But do you want to tell us a little bit about your Digestive Boost, Dr. Prasad?
Yes, digestive boost is very important for the especially older people or younger people who have a digestive problem.
Oh, yeah. I got some 20-year-olds, Dr. Prasad, that love the stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, but generally, the older people are the one who
Right.
start producing less digestive enzymes as you grow older. And that's why it is absolutely essential for them.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Very wise, phenomenal combination there, folks. So this is a good one to go with. Dr. Prasad has also produced the Brain Boost.
Yes.
This is food for neurons, and
Yes.
I take one or two. I used to take two in the morning, but now it seems like I only need one in the morning and one in the evening.
Yeah.
But man, it just lights me up on all cylinders, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah, it is very important because some of these ingredients here, for example, curcumin and resveratrol, is very important because they are much more powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammation than the other antioxidant. And in addition to that, resveratrol also increases the number of new mitochondria in the cell so that they can produce more energy for you.
Ooh, new mitochondria. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
New mitochondria, folks. Because we start losing mitochondria, that's where energy comes in. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why it starts to fire up. The sleep boost is just off the Richter scale good. I take 3 of those every single night.
Yeah,
I'm
I take it too myself.
I'm getting 8 hours, Dr. Prasad. I am getting 8 hours. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night. Unbroken sleep between 7 and 8 hours every single night.
And we just filed a patent for this one.
So yet another patent in the pipeline. This is unique. You cannot find this anyplace. So whoever invited you to this presentation today really did you a nice solid, folks. And then, of course, Dr. Prasad mentioned the CBD boost. So if you're dealing with a
Yeah.
little bit of stress or have some anxiety in your life,
Yeah,
which we
depression.
all have,
Yeah.
you could just take this as needed. 1, 2, 3. We've had some folks taking 5 or 6 an hour, Dr. Prasad,
Yeah.
because of some severe anxiety issues.
Yeah, I mean, this is very non-toxic. As you know, FDA has approved up to 750 milligrams for the children who have these what do you call
Seizures. Mm-hmm.
seizure type of problem.
Yep. And that's half the bottle, folks. So
It
this is
non-toxic, but
it can't
problem
hurt you.
is that you can't take a high dose long time, because if you take a very high dose for a long time, they inhibit the enzyme called P450, and that enzymes it is responsible for degrading all your medication that you are taking. And if they are inhibited, then your blood level of all those medications will increase and then cause side effects. And so that's why we recommend that take a longer time. It might take not immediately, but if you're having anxiety or depression, then you take up to 200 milligram and or even larger for a week or so, but not for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. If they have to have the very large doses.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Gotcha. Makes sense. Okay. So look here, folks, just so that you know, we're going to take a bunch of your questions before we conclude. But just so that you are aware, this is what this company, Engage Global, has done to empower you to take charge of your health. Okay. If you found these on the internet, even on Amazon someplace, the retail cost would be $310.62. That's what it would cost you. And you probably would end up paying shipping and no guarantees on your product as well. Some have Prime, and I guess you wouldn't pay the shipping. But if you were an Engage Global affiliate or even a preferred customer, you get the discount. That takes it down about 25%, and that would be about $230 if you bought them individually. But because the Engage Global, at Dr. Prasad's urging, has subsidized our health, you can get this bundle. It's called the Core 4 for $199.99. If you prefer to have the hydro instead of the capsules, it's $5 more. So that's the difference in the two.
Oh.
You just pay $10 for the shipping, and that's it. But you want to go on subscription, and if you want to know if it really helps you, you got to stick with it for at least 90 days. So I mean, I had somebody say, well, I took it and I didn't notice a difference. After like 2 days, I didn't notice a difference. What do you mean you didn't notice a difference after 2 days? It takes scientifically, it takes 90 days to know whether it's making a difference for you. You're 40 years old, you're 50 years old, you're 60, you're in your 70s, and it took you decades to get where you are. And you think something instantly is going to undo that? That's not the case. That's not reasonable. So you
No.
might want to look into the brain boost if you have that thinking. But I'm just kidding on that part. Okay, that's just like a joke. That's all. Sorry, I wasn't trying to offend anybody on that. But I take the brain boost. So just so you know, in fact, I take them before these presentations because I don't want to forget anything. I don't want to miss a step, and it does kind of help me when I'm doing the presentation, not to forget things. But here's that thing I mentioned about earlier. Call Engage Global tomorrow with your whoever invited you. Get on the phone with them, and they're going to throw in a Digestive Boost just for you to try it. No cost whatsoever. You'll get that, but you got to do this on the phone. So if you want the Digestive Boost, if you don't want the Digestive Boost, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and do the order as soon as you get off this call tonight. Just do it. But if you want the free Digestive Boost, then great. That's one way to do it. If for some reason funds is an issue and that the Core 4 is going to break the budget, this is the very minimum that Dr. Prasad recommends, is go with the basic bundle. And this is still cheaper buying it as a bundle here. It's at least $8 cheaper than the wholesale price, buying it as a bundle. And it's still considerably cheaper than the retail price that you would get on Amazon. All right. So set your subscription up for that. You see the retail price will be $164, but the subscription price is only $109.99. So $110 for this. And that's the best way to go. And I think you got to add the $10 shipping on top of that as well. If you just want the Digestive Boost, you want to add that to any one of your subscriptions, and you currently have a subscription right now, it's only $39.99 to add it to any one of your subscriptions. And this is another one of those items that we don't run out of, Dr. Prasad. We keep this. My wife loves it. And if you get something bad, by the way, folks, if you get something bad, the probiotic boost and the digestive boost, these two, I'm talking like botulism type thing. You're talking about being able to help get that under control so you don't have the discomfort that you ordinarily would feel, from something like that. So take full advantage of these bundles. So here's your options: the basic bundle, the premium bundle, and the Core 4. We only talked about the basic and the Core 4. Those are the ones that we are recommending that you take a good look at, but just get back to the person who invited you to this discussion, and they will help you to make a decision about what's going to be best for you. And before I shut the PowerPoint down, I just want to show you this one slide here real quick. Take a screenshot of this because next Sunday, for those of you who were afraid to tell your story today, Dr. Prasad, people like telling Jeff their story, so
I think this is very important.
Yeah, they'll tell Jeff's story. I'll be pulling teeth trying to get a story out of folks, but Jeff comes on board, boy, they just bare their whole soul. So we got to get those stories out of folks. So he's already agreed to be on next week to give you guys a chance to bare your soul and to tell your story. We love hearing the stories, by the way, and the audience on YouTube loves hearing the stories. It is an amazing thing to
be here. We'll be here. I can hardly wait for next Sunday.
Yeah, I will be here too.
Yeah.
That's it. Talk, and tell it all, folks. That's what I'm talking about. So there's a couple of questions that came up. I have to say this one. Cheryl says, Dr. Prasad is our gift. And she put 3 exclamation marks behind it, Dr. Prasad. So I don't know if you saw that in the chat or not. So I think we all agree with that. But could Core 4 help to ease symptoms of early/mid-stage Alzheimer's disease or slow down the progression of the disease? So obviously we can't say that any of these products will treat or cure any disease. However, I think, Dr. Prasad, the question might be, if a person is dealing with Alzheimer's, is it possible that their body could function better if they use the Core 4?
Yes, and that is for example, in one case that they did a clinical study, and that a person has a early phase of Alzheimer and or middle, they have a memory loss and this kind of stuff characteristic. And so they put just on collagen peptide alone, and they found that for 90 days, and they found that the collagen peptides, because see, the loss of collagen from brain shrinks. So when they did an MRI of the brain, the structure was altered
Mm.
and memory loss was there. And so when they put in collagen peptides, then collagen level was restored, whatever they were lost. And they found that the structure of the brain improved as well as the memory loss also improved. So then you feel better that reduction of memory loss is very important. And so it was very just in one collagen peptides.
Wow.
And our collagen peptide is much better. But again, if you combine with 4,
Collagen peptide.
I think core 4, because even in Alzheimer, you have intestinal dysbiosis. This has been proved by many people in the research.
You
And
get some.
have loss of collagen.
But I've been talking about that collagen goddamn for the longest.
Can our co-host just make sure everyone's muted, please?
What's that?
I was just making sure the co-host is just muting everyone. Okay, so the collagen peptide and the probiotic boost would be helpful for someone with Alzheimer's. So the core 4
Yeah.
is definitely a good thing for someone who's dealing with
Yes,
with
core
Alzheimer's.
4 is a very, very good thing in combination with whatever your doctor has recommended.
That's it.
That's okay.
Okay, perfect. Now, someone who has a quote unquote slow bowel, would it be beneficial for them to double up on the probiotic, or is
You
that
can.
they
You
can
can
do
for
that?
a
No
short
problem.
time, yes, yeah. But
Okay.
but also they must take digestive enzyme.
Digestive enzyme.
Yeah.
And that would help to move things along a little bit. Would the collagen peptide be beneficial for a bowel that's not
Yeah.
underperforming? Collagen peptide? If the
Yeah,
bowel
they
is
will reverse the intestinal dysbiosis and improve further the gut health if you take also digestive enzyme if you are older, and that will help a great deal whatever discomfort you are having. But again, core 4 is always important, but I'm saying that as far as the dose is concerned, for short time you can, and that's okay. Otherwise, we generally recommend, you can't expect only in 2-3 days. Some of these, when they run a clinical study before they evaluate it, at least they 90 days. But I think in a month time, at least, you will see at least improvement, not totally, cured, but improvement you will see in this kind of intestinal issue that you have. And so, it is always also consult doctor and tell them what you are doing it. I mean, and so I always say take it, under that kind of disease condition, follow the advice of the doctor, and this is a nutritional support. That's all.
excellent. Very good, very good. Was Carol's question addressed? Carol, did your question get addressed?
No, not yet.
Please
What
tell
is
us what that is.
Okay. I have a friend who is a diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
He's also legally blind. He can see shadows. And somebody suggested that he should use the stem cell patch. And he did. And he is having a little help with it. His neuropathy in his hands and feet is less. And he can see just a little bit more, but not much, still just shadows. So I was suggesting to him that if he could get the core 4, it would make a big difference
Yes.
for it to work together. So
No.
I wanted to be sure that, I didn't tell him this and then, it didn't work. So that's why I'm checking if Dr. Prasad thinks
Excellent question, Carol. Excellent question. So Dr. Prasad, the vision is poor. It's improved with some stem cell patch, but the core 4 and would the eye boost be a good thing to add to that, Dr. Prasad?
Yes, especially if you have that advanced diabetes, because that affects the eye as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and his son is also going the same route. Son's vision is starting to deteriorate as well. So I'm wondering if something familiar,
Okay, very good, very good. So the core 4?
And once they have on this program, let us know after a month or 2, but at least continue for 90 days. how improvement is occurring or not.
That's
Yes.
it.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you, Carol. Thank you for persevering and getting your question in. And for the most part, folks, just about right now, we're on our pattern is about the third Sunday of every month. Jeff just muscles his way in here, and we're gonna do the everyone has a story, segment. So you can always count on that for about the third week of every month. So we want to hear these stories. So you can always come back and make sure that we know what's going on.
Right.
Suzanne Barker has a question.
Sure.
Hi. I was wondering if you had seen any improvement or lowering of LP(a).
What is that?
She says, have we seen
LP(a).
any improvement in the lowering of LPA? LP and the little A.
LP(a). Mhm.
I don't know what is LPA is.
We'll
Okay,
have to-
LP(a) is it's a hereditary cholesterol particle. It has kind of like a corkscrew shaped tail on it. It's very damaging, and there's not even really a medication for it. I mean, the Linus Pauling Institute, they recommend some lysine, but it's a very dangerous cholesterol particle. But yeah, I'm just wondering.
Wow.
I've been trying to find something that would lower it, but I haven't found it yet.
See,
Wow.
in any kind of a genetic disease that looks like you were mentioning he has,
Yes.
that the level of marker of oxidative stress and inflammation is very high. And that's why the disease appears much earlier
Okay.
than the normal people who develop acquired form of Alzheimer's disease or any kind of disease. But the genetically component inherits if somebody has inherited any kind of disease. So if you take for example, in this situation, code 4, that will decrease the inflammation, that will decrease. That's why it will either slow down the progression of the disease, because genetic disease, you can best hope, is slow down the progression of the disease. So it does not. And if disease is already occurring, it might slow down the symptoms and again, progression of the disease. So
Okay.
I would say that try it again, because we have no experience in this issue, but we
Okay.
know what happens in genetic disease in general, that people who carry the genetic disease from parent have a high level of oxidative stress and inflammation. And that's the reason they look completely normal, but that's why the disease appears at an early age than people who actually acquired. Like, for example, Alzheimer or Parkinsonism will appear in 35 to 40 years of age, rather than
Right.
75 or 80 years of age. And in this scenario, again, if genetic disease it is worth a tremble. The worst thing would be that it has no effect. So you have nothing to
Sure.
live for 90 days.
Okay.
But if it improves, then of course, this is a very good thing to have.
And we want to hear about it.
We want to
Okay.
get, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Definitely.
Suzanne.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Because in the cardiac, world of lab testing, that's a really critical marker and,
Yeah.
kind of predictive for some more serious type of heart disease. So
Wow.
I will
Well,
keep you posted.
okay. Well, we're looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Thank you so very much for bringing your question up and for being willing to share that.
That's why in heart disease, that's why the low, the LDL, that get easily oxidized, and they are the one who forms clump and they block the arteries. So if we prevent oxidations and these kind of things and inflammation, then LDLA will not clump, and then you may have this kind of issue resolved. So, but again, nobody has tried under these conditions, but it is what we know what is happening there in general genetic disease, and worth taking a chance.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Thank you so much, Dr. Prasad. And Dr. Prasad, we can't thank you enough for
Sure.
all that you bring to the table and all that you're willing to share with your voluminous amount of knowledge. And and information that you just kind of pop off the top of your head. So we really do appreciate that. So if everybody wants to unmute themselves, you can say thank you to Dr. Prasad, my team 615.
Okay.
Thank you again. We'll
Thank
see you next week, Dr. Prasad.
Thank
you,
you.
Dr.
Thank
Prasad.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Good program.
Good program.